And now on to the next step of the Model 4 restoration process, the floppy drives. So first things first, we're going to clean the floppy drives. I'm going to do that using this head cleaning diskette that was part of the Tandy computer care kit. You're supposed to discard the disk after 15 uses, but yeah, right. So that's going to be a thing. And then what we're going to do is remove each of the drives, and we're going to lubricate the rails and the right protect switches and make sure that the stepper motors are okay. Now the drives do spin when the machine powers up, so all I really have to do is put the disk in the drive and turn the computer on, and both drives will spin. I can put it in there for the 30 seconds or so, and I'll use rubbing alcohol in the disk. That usually works pretty well for cleaning tape heads and disk heads. If I get any funny feelings, I can use Q-tips, but I feel like I've got a better chance of damaging the heads if I try poking at them with Q-tips and if I use this. And just for a little retro floppy drive cleaning goodness, why should you clean your diskette drive heads? Because they may be dirty enough to cause you trouble. It only takes a minute amount of dust, dirt, or magnetic oxide particles on your drive head to cause problems, errors, downtime, or even an expensive disruptive service call for repairs. Because regular use of the cleaning disc can keep your drive heads free of trouble-causing dirt and help keep your system up and running. And because it only takes 30 seconds of your time for all of that insurance. Anyway, let's get started. So how do we remove these drives? Well, on this side, on the power supply side, there are a couple of screws that hold each of the drives in. I haven't seen any of these with the rear screws in here. The holes are there, but I've never seen screws in them. And this would be, I've been in a number of these machines. And then on the other side, there are a total of 4 screws, 2 per drive. And these screws hold the shielding on, which is also actually attached back here to the keyboard cable. Rounds that out. And this also upper shielding, which has, as you'll see when I take it out, it is actually threaded along these screws here so that it gets held in place. So this will all come out. We're going to remove the top drive first, and then we're going to remove the bottom drive, and I'm sure I'll have some commentary while we're doing it. One note I will make is, I don't know who the hell was in here sometime in the past, but whoever it is, I mean, did you suck that bad with a screwdriver? Like, jeez. Also, the shielding here is weirdly bent out, and I can't account for why that is. So, I don't know what kind of past this machine had, but someone was rather sticky with their screwdriver while they were in here. So, either way, let's get to these floppy drives. Okay, the key to this is to take off the top drive first. So I'm just going to pull these screws out and keep track of the screws. Now because this machine was just live, I have to be extra careful around the power supply to make sure that I don't drop any screws in it or stick my fingers in it or anything else, because some of those caps probably still have a charge. Now the shielding is just held in by the top 2 screws, so it will slide right out. And now the power cable is actually under the back side of the drive, so it's down underneath, so I have to slide the drive out and then I can pull it down. That also means I have to pull this cable off, and these cables weren't designed for a lot of insertion cycles, so I've got to be careful removing it. Eventually it'll probably get replaced anyway because I'm going to want to put an HXC emulator in there. So there's the power cable. Get this out without moving it too much, and the drive is now free. And you can see the drive is quite dirty on top here. There's quite a bit of, I don't know if you can see that right here. The board is quite dirty here, so at the very least we're going to blow it off and brush it off and see what we can get. That's drive 1. Now on to drive 0. And there it is, drive 0 is free. A little less dirty than drive 1, but also missing a plastic stand. Interesting, so that one's missing. So that's it. So now we're going to move the computer out of the way, and it'll be time to get started on these drives. Alright, let's see. We can get this out. I just have to get this pinched. And drop it. Ooh, there we go. That's it. Okay. Alright, so we're ready to remove this this mount here. Try this again. If I pull this up, I may just be able to push up on the board and pop it out. There it goes. It's not exactly as gentle as I would have liked to have been, but the board is in fact now off. So, rather than try and disconnect all of this, what I essentially have here, actually I'm going to disconnect this guy here. I'm going to fold this over the top. There we go. Oh wow. This controller board is a Tandy Corp revision board. I didn't expect to see that. Interesting, 1980. Anyway, so what we have to do here, I'm going to first pull that out. I have to hit the head cleaner again, but okay. What we're going to do here is I have a little bit of lubricant in this cup. I'm going to swab it, and I'm going to just a little bit. I'm going to put a little on the heads on these rails. I think I'm happy with that. How do we clamp? Looking okay. Disc. See if the right protect switch is too much of a problem. That's drive 0. Okay, we're going to lubricate the rails on drive 1. Before we do, we're going to move drive 0 so I can do this. See, this is going to need a toothbrush. Ooh. See, this is going to need a toothbrush. Okay, so there are drives 0 and 1, 0, 1. I cleaned off the top of one a little bit. I'll probably come back to it, but I really just want to see if these work before I go too crazy on these. So now it's time to put the drives back in. I have drive 0 here, and I have drive 1 here. I've cleaned up the top a little bit. It's not perfect, but it was pretty bad, so I cleaned it up. And it's late enough in the evening that we also have a little whiskey. So let's have some of that. Alright, the drives are installed and cabled. We're going to get the top and we're going to power it up and make sure they spin. And if they do, we're going to try and boot it. Okay, so our head cleaning diskette has been moistened. It is not going to go in the drive, and I'm going to hit reset. Just give it a chance to get any dust I blew around off the heads. If I get the reset, there we go. Okay, do one more. I'm going to do the top drive. Since I cleaned them before, I'm not going to go crazy. I just want to make sure I get any of the what was on the heads off of there. You might need some additional lubrication. It might just be this disc though. Okay, there we go. So that is that. I'm going to give the drives a second to dry out. So this is the Model 4 Tristos 6.0 disc. This is using the slower step rate of the drives. I figure if the drives are going to have problems, they're going to have problems with a higher step rate operating system like Tristos 6.2 or Elestos 6.3 or Tristos 1.3, which use the 6 millisecond step rate as well. So, alright, I gotta look at the right protect notch, something's up. But here we go. Oh, hello. Hello. That's a good sign. What the hell's today's date? I mean, it's gonna be, I was gonna pick a year, but 09, 17, I'm gonna call it 83. You can see it says 93 on there, and that's because I patched it before I got Tristos 6.0, so you could type in 83 and it would replace it with all 9s. And I rearranged the dates. I just used debug and edited the file. I did this back when I was a teenager, just because. So let's see how the machine works. Drive's nice and quiet, actually. Kind of surprised. I'm actually really surprised at how quiet the drive is and how well it seems to work. Very good. Okay. Let's try another OS. Let's try Tristos 6.2 and see if the higher step rate works. Got a whole bunch of discs in here. Oh, there we go. This is a backup copy I made, and I had a DMP 400. I was feeling fancy with the labels that day. So that's what I do. Oh, so it must be that disc. That went right in. Okay, good. Okay. Okay. Now it's cat 0. We'll do the. Okay, let's do basic. Wow. Wonder if drive 1 works. It appears to. Interesting. Overlays aren't compatible. Either way. Okay, let's try Tristos 1.3. Tristos 1.3. Model 3 Tristos 1.3 backup copy. Ooh, let's turn this down a little bit. Basic. Seems to work pretty well. Cool. I typed system instead of CMDS. Oh, I killed that. Didn't like that. Should have typed CMDS instead of system. Just to make sure that wasn't a weird fluke. We'll basic. Okay. CMDS. I'm pretty sure I have Space Quest on here. Oh, don't remember what it is. Let's find out. Nope. Let's see if I have Space Quest on another disk. Well, let's see what else we have on here. Let's see what's on this one. Ooh, got some games on this bad boy. Okay, this is a Tristas 1.3 system disk with a bunch of games on it. Let's see if Space Quest is on here. Hey. Look at this. Oh man, I'm gonna have to put this together so I can play this business. It's gonna be a little hard sideways. I always liked games seem to have that style of. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh man. Oh, look at me suck. We won't be calling the project complete just yet. There's some additional things I want to do. I do need to double check drive 1. But I think between drive 0 and the rest of the system, the power supply, the new case, the screen, the badge, and everything like that, the newly recapped power supply, this machine is definitely in a good spot. And putting it together would be the right thing to do at this point. I think it's ready for that. So I'm going to shut her off. Okay, so the hardest part about getting this back together is making sure the neck of the screen, which you can see doesn't have a whole lot of clearance from the back of the case, doesn't hit back here, or any other parts while I'm bringing it down. Otherwise it'll just destroy the CRT. So putting these cases on is a little art, a lot of patience, and a lot of paranoia. If you think it's going wrong, just abort and take the case back off. Don't be a hero. Alright, so let's do this. So I'm going to do this from the back because I can see into the vents. Everything's connected. Okay. And here we go. Now what I'm going to do, I like to use the back edge of the case as guides along. Just lean it forward. Slowly and carefully. Set it in before I go pushing on shit. Looking in here. Looks like we're clear. I don't know what it is. Whoops, I just turned it on. No, let's see if it works. Let's do this. Just break this, did I? Oh shit. It's not touching. Cloth. When last we left things, I was putting the case on and I powered it up, accidentally actually, and the screen didn't come on. I was like, ah shit. And I was pretty sure I didn't hit the back of the CRT along the back of the machine, and I didn't, fortunately. But what I did find was that, I have to be careful because this was live recently, the two pins here that are above my finger there, those have a bad solder joint. And so what happened was the cable flexed while I was putting the cover together, and it flexed it enough. And the way that I figured this out, I pulled it apart of course, and the CRT didn't work. And after making sure the tube was okay and there were no shorts or smells or anything, and there weren't, I was racking my brain to figure out why it didn't work. And when I put the meter on it, I powered it on and put the meter on the 12 volt lugs so the to show you how this is. These two here, the V2 and common in V2, that is the CRT. Feeds 12 volts to the CRT board. And when I put the meter on there, it first read 0, and then I got a little bit of a arc, and then it read 12 volts, and the screen came on. So I was like, ah, well, shit, there it is. So this is why I drink when I do this, because if I didn't, I would be much less calm right now. But needless to say, I was a little nervous. I was afraid that I'd spent all this time getting this thing working again just to, you know, blow it up. So either way, it's not. So while the iron heats up, I just wanted to go over that. Everything does work. I'm just going to tidy up these solder joints a little bit and make sure the rest on the connector are okay, and then we're going to put it back together again. And we'll power it on again, and hopefully all is well. There's a little more solder on there than before, so it looks like it makes a better connection. But what we're going to do is I'm going to mount this back in there with a couple of screws. We're going to put the CRT up and make sure that it works, and if it does, then we'll put the machine back together. Okay, power supply board is power supply board's remounted, but I didn't actually connect anything, so we're going to do that. That's why those solder joints broke. Off, right? Okay. Okay, power supply is remounted. I just reconnected it. Now let's see if it works. Yeah, it does. I just saw the screen light up. I got the perfect. And I suspect, yeah, before the screen was jumpy, and I noticed when I had the meter on it that it got jumpy as I was doing this, and I'm kind of tapping the connector trying not to zap myself, and it's rock solid. So that's why the screen was jumpy, and you might have noticed when I was doing the disc exercises, the screen jumped a little bit. I thought I had it taken care of before I had cleaned off the connector on the CRT controller board and on the connector itself. Kind of off camera I cleaned that up, and I'd also cleaned up some of these connectors and made sure they were not gunked up. So it worked well enough, long enough that I thought I had it, but it turns out I just got lucky. So now we are solid. Okay, so now let's put the case back on and see if I can do this again without breaking it, and if I can actually get it turned back on with the case on. Let's go. So this is it all reassembled. Got the case all back together. The screen works this time because my solder joints are all fixed, and we're booted up to Tristos 1.3. So just start up a game of Space Quest here. The drives work, the screen works. This is again the screen I got from CRT and controller board I got from J North. The case and the badge as well. This project isn't quite complete. I need to clean off the bottom of this. I didn't finish cleaning the bottom. And I'm still going to do the repair on the original case that came with this machine when it was damaged in shipping. So, while the machine is functional again, there will be some additional addendums onto this. And so let's see if I can play better now that the screen's not upside down or sideways, because that was definitely messing up my game here. That was close. Problem is they go faster. Oop. Yeah. Now I wish I had the sound hooked up, because you would get the sound of the bullets and the things coming down and the wave ending. Anyway, you didn't come here to watch me play Space Quest, but it works. And thanks for following this again. There will be some case updates. You'll get to see me either succeed or fail miserably at doing the case update, or the case repair, so hopefully that works. We'll see if I beat it up, and we're done. Okay, well, anyway, that's that. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, stay classy.